Well, I've made a life-changing decision today. It was a decision that I could never have made 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even 2 weeks ago. I just made it now. It's the right time, it's the right moment, and I think I can handle it. The decision is I am no longer going to buy ice cream for my home or the office. That's right. Now, I didn't say I wasn't going to eat ice cream, did I? No. I will probably eat ice cream. I mean, there's nothing I like more than a soft serve cone. Dairy Queen being the best, but I don't know, depending on the Dairy Queen, sometimes it's flavorful, sometimes it's not. But they do have a soft serve at Chick-fil-A now, at least in Century City Mall, but I guess every Chick-fil-A. Okay, but the decision is I'm not buying ice cream for the home or the office. And the reason is I have no control over emotional eating. I don't. So the only foods I can have around me are healthy foods. I can eat the unhealthy foods when I go out, but I can't bring them back home. I can't put them in the car. I can only eat them where I'm at. But I feel very good about that decision. I really, really do. Because as long as I can control what I have around me in the house, in the office. Now, I have to emotionally eat in the office. I work in divorce, for heaven's sakes. There's a lot of emotion going on, and the only way I can resolve everybody else's emotion and how it affects me is by eating. So I took matters into my hands and stomach, and no ice cream will be in the office or at the house. I will tell you, and my brother delighted in this. I remember when I was renting a guest house on an estate in Beverly Hills next to the Beverly Hills Hotel on the corner of Benedict Canyon and Sunset Boulevard. I mean, it's a famous intersection. So I was renting this guest house for a year. I had just sold my condo in Culver City, and I was going to move into my single family dwelling in Palm Springs. I had kicked the renter out. So I was leasing this home. It was a gorgeous home, 3,000 square feet in a cul-de-sac. I owned the entire street. I literally owned all the lots on the street. It was called Gable Glen after Clark Gable. And I owned my own street. I was really proud of myself. But anyway, while I'm still in the guest house in Beverly Hills, such a gorgeous place too. Just the trees, all the windows around. It was a two-bedroom apartment, guest house. And just looking out the windows were these gorgeous elephant palm trees and beautiful hibiscus, azalea. I mean, really gorgeous. I was entertaining my brother and his then wife and his then mother-in-law and my mother. Everybody was in town. I had 8 pints of ice cream in my freezer. I was going to do an ice cream bar. My brother will never forget that. That was one of the most delightful experiences. And then everywhere I lived, because I live alone, I can do what I want. Like Eric Cartman, I can do what I want. He's big boned. He's not fat. I'm big boned. I'm not fat. He looks in my freezer. Everywhere I live, he looks in my freezer to see if he can experience yet again a repeat experience of the shock and awe seeing 8 pints of ice cream in my freezer. It was great. I really liked that. Of course, it never did help the weight gain, but that's okay. When you get older, you start getting smaller anyway. So I feel I've lived long enough that my stature is getting smaller and my structure is smaller and smaller as the days go on. So I wanted to share that with you because honestly, I think for so many of us, food is an issue. It really is. And food has really shaped my life. I was a regular sized kid up until maybe 4 or 5, and then I started gaining weight like crazy. I think it had to do when I had to associate in classes. Like when I went to kindergarten, it was brutal, man. I freaking hated kindergarten. I wanted to do something more with my life than take a nap and do show and tell. Well, no, show and tell was good. No, show and tell was good, but they wouldn't let me talk as long as I wanted to. And for that, I turned into a little mean kid. So we had to sit in a circle, at least in show and tell. And I don't know what got into me, but we each had to stand up and say what we needed to say, what we had prepared. And I always pulled the chair out from under the little kid when they went to sit down. I mean, my parents didn't teach me this. Like Chris Rock said, one of his two girls just started biting kids when she was my age, 5. And they say, kids learn things from their parents. And Chris said, this was in Outrage, Selective Outrage. That was the special he did on Netflix, Selective Outrage. And he said, "Do you actually think her mother and I, taught our daughter how to bite children?" No, no. This is her. She had a horrible personality. This was her. Now, my parents never taught me to be that mean, but I think I had a horrible personality. I think my neurodivergency, because I have self-analyzed myself. I believe I'm on the spectrum and happy to be on that spectrum, by the way. I'm in good company with very intelligent people. But who taught me how to do that? Nobody. I just hated being in kindergarten. I hated taking naps. I did like the snacks, that we had snacks. So I went for the snacks, of course. This is where food became an issue in my life. But man, now that I look back, I'm like, how could I have been so mean? And I had to promise the teacher that I would never do it again, and I did it every single time. And then when we had to take naps, of course, we had blankets, and I would put the blanket over my head and then sneak telling jokes and making the other kids laugh. And of course, I believe I was on punishment quite a lot, to the point where I went to my parents right before the Christmas gift exchange, and I said, "Look, I got to quit. I got to get out of there. It's a hellscape in there for me. It's not me. I'm forced to be like other kids. I'm forced to be part of the team, and I am not a good team player. I am not. I must be my own independent person." And so I said to my parents after the Christmas gift exchange, because I'm not a fool, I like presents. I like giving presents and I like accepting presents. I said, I want to quit the kindergarten and start my own production company, which I did. They let me. I mean, my poor parents. This is why my dad died young. My poor parents. I'm the oldest. They had no training on how to raise a child. And there I am, the oldest child, going through everything first and putting my poor parents in a position that they just weren't ready for. Everybody I know loved kindergarten, but me. So I quit. I started my own production company where we had snacks. They were a big part of the show. And I would go around to, well, we had the record players, right? And so I would have kids, I would go up and down the neighborhood. It was all families, all kids my age. And I would say, "You're going to be in the show. And this is what I would like you to do, unless you have another act you would like to do. I will be the director. I will pick the music, and you're going to act, and you're going to do great." And then I would ask the parents for um, money so I could buy the snacks, so I could then sell them to the parents when they came for the show. We had a garage and a driveway leading into the garage. And that's where I put all the chairs for the parents. And I charged them admissions, of course, because then I had to buy more music for more shows. And it was great. My memory says that it was great, that everybody had a good time. And so I wanted to show my parents that letting me do my own thing was the right thing to do. And they should be proud of me. And I think they were. Until, of course, they weren't, and I became a really bad kid later. But that's okay. That's for different storytelling. But the food was always important, and I went extreme. And ice cream, why do I like ice cream so much? Because it goes down so easily. And this is why it's so detrimental and damaging because you can eat so many calories and not feel full. Well, then if you eat the whole pint, you don't feel good. It's too many calories. It's too easy to eat. And I found yogurt, no, regular yogurt, not frozen yogurt that's like ice cream, regular yogurt that it's not exactly sugar-free, but it's sweetened with fruit. And that is in place of ice cream. And that I rarely eat. It's in the refrigerator. I may eat two or three bites of it, and I put some berries in it to because it's different fruit flavors, and I put some different berries in it to give it body, and that's what I eat in place of it. So this is it. Yes, this is my new life-changing decision. No ice cream purchased for the home or the office. And I would like to hear from all of you. Have you made any life-changing food decisions lately? You know, we have to band together in our little community for Out to Lunch with Judy.